I know that was showing in the background. It looks raggedy.
I don't see how you can see anything. It's like a big light.
No, it looks like there's something hanging up back there.
It is something hanging up.
All right, so you can see it. It looks raggedy. I don't like the way it looks. Anyway, we got to change our background and stuff. So
You want me to fix
I'm
it?
pay attention
I'll
to that.
fix it.
No, just leave it for now so we can get started. Cause I'm on a hard stop today. All right, what are we talking about?
Not doing this week.
What?
I'm not doing this week.
Well, I mean, it's your topic.
It was so you gonna say that every week?
You came up with the topics for me.
No.
I'm just saying.
Oh, you started this week. I started last week.
Start what? It's your topic. I don't even know what specifically you want to talk about because when I started trying to talk to you about it, you said wait for the show or something. So, what is it?
But I explained to you what it was. Anyway, so I had heard something that caught my attention. It was it's learning how. The heck is that? Oh, it's learning how to oh, okay. Well, it's learning how to stop your alarm on your phone. It's learning how to adapt or um learning how to adapt to the changes that people make physically and mentally during a relationship. Um, I heard somebody on YouTube actually when I was searching YouTube with this topic, and I thought it was interesting because a lot of times when I would say because they like to say men are physical creatures, right? So a lot of times they say, you know, men find a woman because she's beautiful, this, that, and the third, and then you hear the stories that guys leave their girlfriends or wives, partners, whatever, because they got fat or they don't look the same, or or, or things like that. And it got me thinking. Actually got me thinking about she and I. We've discussed this before, but it made me think about that again. Through our journey of working out, we both got up to 230 pounds. She's now 100 and what 30, 40 somewhere, 30 whatever she is. 133. I'm 180ish, whatever. And the point of me saying that is when we were 230, she still was the person that I inboxed on Facebook. She still was, she looked to me, she looked the same. I didn't even know that we were big. I didn't know she was big. I didn't know I was big until I looked at the picture. So my point behind all of that is if you truly in love with someone, then you're in love with them in all the qualities that they have, and not the beauty or the body or whatever it is that physically attracted to them. At some point, you have to grow out of that. And I just think that people a lot of times get caught up in trying to fall in love with an image, and over time, we're gonna change. Like you're not gonna look the same at 18 as you do at 25. Actually a living witness of that because she's seen some of my younger pictures and I look totally different. So it's like when I'm super light, I look different. Look like I'm probably on drugs. When I'm super heavy, my face is fat and everything else. So, but what I'm saying is your body is gonna change and things are gonna change within your body during that time period. So how do you adjust, or can you adjust to that? You should be able to if you're truthfully in love with people. And it goes back to like one of those conversations that we had months and months ago about again people falling in love with the wrong things and the wrong aspect of an individual. They don't fall in love with the qualities, or they don't fall in love with the 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 parts of the person that could complete them. So I just thought that was an interesting topic, and I don't know.
So what they were focusing on was the physical changes.
I mean, the physical changes, yeah, that's what he was focused on. But when you started, you was talking about the mental changes and all of that. So you can engulf and dive in that a little bit if you want to.
Okay.
And I got a lot of gray hair. See, I didn't have all that when we first met. So she stressed me out. So she has to deal with the changes.
Whatever. I was trying to look up something, but so we talk. You can talk. We can talk about the physical one first because I get that point, right? But then, yeah, outer appearance, I think, is what they were talking about on the thing that you saw, right? They were talking about outer appearance. But my thing is, this kind of falls in line with everything. Okay.
Yeah, they were talking about the outer appearance, but you mentioned the mental aspect as well.
When we talk about that, is it fair to say that a person shouldn't lose attraction to someone if they change considerably as far as looks from what they were before?
I don't think so. Again, like I said, you like I said, that's why I said we don't need to be having conversations until we do this. But if I think you're beautiful from day one and you get into a car accident or you get into some tragic something that messes up your face, right? If we have a kid and your face is all messed up, your genetics is not going to come from the accident like and messing up your face. You are still that beautiful person before the accident, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But just because you look at them and you see something that happened that made them change, you fell in love with what they look like. Now, after that, that love should have grown and matured into other aspects, where it get past the looks. So I personally don't think it's fair. I mean,
well, and it's funny that you say that because I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but not too much. Because lately there's been this thing about women who are in marriages that don't get their hair done on a regular basis. They don't get their nails done on a regular basis. And some of these women say they don't do it because they don't have time for it, because they're saving their money, blah, 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 blah. And then there's the other stream of thought where people were saying, no, back in the day when we were housewives, they looked this way, they looked that way, and they kept their appearance up. And then you think about the fact that that was something that women historically had been taught. Like, you're supposed to stay looking a certain way for your spouse. And if you don't, then they're going to cheat on you. If you don't, then, you're not being a good wife. And that's been, I've seen that being forced down women's throat more so than I've seen it happen to men. And even though today is done differently, I think it still continues to happen. So I follow this life coach, and she was posting these pictures of the stay-at-home wife back in the day and how the hair was done and dinner was cooked and they was dressed this and dressed that. But I and even though I agree with a lot of her thoughts, my concern is that I don't think she understood that some of them women probably felt like they were forced to maintain that appearance, even though it was tiring to them. They didn't feel like it. They were not in the mood to. So you have that type of dynamic. Like, you have this school of thought that you're supposed to look a certain way for your spouse. Like, they even have funny things. Like, even if we bring it back to present day, they have these funny memes stuff that go around talking about, this is what she looked like when I was dating her. This is what she looks like now. And I see that again more so happening with women, not as much with men, but I'm pretty sure it does with men as well. But there's been this constant focus on this physical appearance of your partner and how they should stay physically looking a certain way.
Well, so then it goes back, like I said earlier, like again, if you don't grow out of that, like grow out of the physical thing, because again, first of all, going back to what you said about back in the day, maybe they was feeling forced. Now I can tell you what, I don't think like this, and I don't think like this, but I can. Men would argue, well, if she's at home, she's supposed to keep herself looking good for me and this, that, and the third. If I'm going out here doing yada, yada, this and yada, yada, that, right? So if we going all the way back to then, it's superficial even then, because now then it's more of you supposed to do this type of thing versus I love you it's a conditional type of love, if you get what I'm saying. Like I'm loving you because you're beautiful, not because you're the mother of my child, not because you're keeping our house in order, not because of all the other things that you do for the home and do for me while I'm at work. It's because you're beautiful. And I would agree with you going into the coming into modern day times. Men seem to, well, I don't know if it's men or women. If women has adapted to this as much as men, maybe it's because of, and I'm sorry, y'all, my mind around, maybe because it's maybe the pressure that the men put on women as well, to think that they have to look a certain way. So I just think that all of that is superficial. I seen a video where women was saying, they was asking the women, would you rather have a BBL? Do you think men prefer BBLs or natural? And like 10 women said BBLs. Then they went and asked the men, and the men said natural. So it's a disconnect some kind of way, but it's all still superficial. And it goes back to what we always talk about as far as love, and what love demands, and people not understanding how to love and how to love appropriately. So it all falls back into that, because if what you see is on the outside is that's beauty and that's all you love, then that's, once that goes away, then you're out of love, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
and that's interesting. I wonder if that plays a role in the whole growing apart thing that some people talk about. The whole physical appearance also plays a role in that.
Yeah, it has to, because well, it ain't, you never was apart if you could grow apart because of a physical. You was never on evenly yoked anyway. If the physical attraction was all that you were together or with that person for. Because at the end of the day, yes, we as men, like I tell you this all the time, a guy is not going to look at a woman and be like, oh, she looks like she'll be a great friend. Like, it is just like, if you look at a woman and start out a conversation, it's something about your looks that attracted a man anyway.
Okay.
Right? So now where that goes from that point is different. Whether it's a relationship, whether, oh yeah, we don't know, this person can be a cool friend, blah, 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 maybe because y'all don't align and whatever, but you have great conversations, and that's what it is. Right? So the growing apart would become, people will grow apart because you will try to take somebody like, oh, she's beautiful. And then y'all start talking. He's like, yeah, I don't want to really deal with her like that, but I'm just going to do whatever. And then y'all become in a relationship, and then y'all was never supposed to be together anyway. It was strictly physical. So then when that physical thing, or they find somebody that's more attractive, then now their attention goes somewhere else. Because I don't care who you are, it's always going to be somebody with a better body, better breasts, better body, everything, right? So then that's all they get stuck on, is the physical aspect.
So what you're saying is, because you just said men are physical creatures, right? You said they're physical creatures. So what you're saying is that is supposed to grow. Like if you see someone and your main attraction to them from the beginning was a physical attraction because you're looking at them, then once you all evolve in your relationship, that should grow into something different than that.
It should go into a deeper connection. And actually, that, to me personally, it should go away. And the reason that aspect should go away, it's like sort of like with a job. If you go get a job starting off with $10 an hour, are you going to work the rest of your life for $10 an hour? The purpose of that is elevation, right? To get to a manager position, to get somewhere else, this, that, and the third. You go away from being stuck in that one position. So if you get stuck on the physical aspect, then you're not growing. And I think that now that I say that may be a lot of reasons that relationships don't grow either, because they get stuck there. Because it could even be, you meet somebody, they're a man and woman on this part, they're beautiful, this, that, and the third, and then 2 days later y'all have sex, and then it's the best sex of your life. And then you try to base the relationship on it. Oh, she fine, or he fine. Ooh, she can do this, or he can do that. And now you in a whole relationship because of looks and sex, and you never grow from that aspect of it.
Right.
So then once you get tired of that, then what do you have to fall back on? So now they use the term, "Oh, we just grew apart." No, you just was spreading her legs apart, and then you don't want to do that no more. And you want to go somewhere and grow somewhere else. So I mean, it's sometimes relationships. I don't want to say they're hard. You get what you put into something, right? But people make them hard because they go into them for the wrong reasons.
Oh man, okay, so you got because get what you put into it. That's a really good point, and I need to talk about that too because that I was just thinking about something in regards to that. Didn't have to do with relationships, but with regards to that. So
I want to address
remember
that too. I want to say this real quick. I feel the same way about my wife, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big fan of natural hair. When I say natural hair, I'm talking about just the natural look, the afros, and this, that, and the third. When I say I'm not a big fan, it's not that I want her to wear a weave or nothing like that. It's just like not my preference, right? But I'm not gonna condemn her for it because I'm like you. She don't give a damn what she got on. She's beautiful to me. She can walk around here with a looking like fufu and makeup on her forehead. That's the same woman that I inboxed and said you was pretty. That doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna look at that and be like, oh, you're not attractive to me because you wear your hair naturally or you wear something like I don't. That's so superficial to me. And I've told you this 1,000 times. You do so much. So I'm gonna tell y'all too. She does so much for me and has changed me in so many ways. Just to look at her and say she's beautiful is me looking at her physically and saying she's beautiful is an understatement and not just due for how beautiful you are, right? And your inner beauty, your heart, your soul, and what makes you, your looks can't compete with. If I had to compare the two, you're butt ass ugly physically. If I had to compare your inner beauty to your physical appointment, there's no comparison. You'll be butt ass ugly. Okay. So you know what I mean? Like if that was the case, because you just your light and your beauty inside is so much overshines the rest of that shit. So that's how I look at it. But anyway, you do what you're saying.
But and I was going to talk about the hit on the natural thing that you mentioned earlier. Then you just mentioned it again. So I think part of the issue, and I want to go a little further deeper than just physical, but I think some of the issue too, even with that question you said they were asking people about would a man prefer natural or BBL. I'm gonna tell you exactly where the disconnect is, because men will say all day that they prefer natural, right? But then they have in their mind what they want natural to look like. So for them, they want natural to be somebody with a big butt, or they want natural to be
a naturally big butt.
No, well, I'm just saying. So like, for them to say like, no, I don't prefer BBLs. My thing is, if you put in most of them cases, if you put a guy and you give him two women to choose one, is a woman with a flat butt and a woman with BBL. So basically, she's natural. Her butt just ain't as big. Well, it's not flat. It ain't gotta be flat. It's not as big as the BBL. They're gonna go with the BBL.
It depends. Well, it depends because if you truly want a natural body, you may not know that the BBL is the woman with the BBL butt is fake.
I'm just saying they're gonna
because there's women with really big butts. That's real.
They're gonna go with the BBL, even if they know that it's the BBL. They're gonna go. I'm saying
because I personally don't know a woman if a woman got a
does
BBL
not really want natural. I'm saying people that say they want a woman that looks natural and doesn't wear a whole bunch of makeup have again an idea in their mind of what natural looks to them. To them, natural is going to be someone whose face is flawless, that doesn't have any type of blemish on their face, or they face look a certain way. When they talk about natural hair, like you hear, I don't want somebody with natural hair. Well, their idea of natural hair is somebody with some long flowing hair, as opposed to what natural hair for most people actually looks like. So that's the disconnect. The disconnect, they claim that they want natural, but they really don't. They really want somebody. They don't
understand what true natural is.
Right, because they really don't want natural. They want natural to look a specific way to them.
Yeah.
And that's the disconnect. So that's the whole thing with natural.
I'll say this too. When I was younger, I didn't really necessarily give into this, but I do now. I think, well, they don't really do videos like that either, like they used to. But I think the rap industry and as we talked about our culture, makes us as black men especially thinks that the natural, when we say natural, is no makeup, but you gotta, like you said, have long hair and stuff like that. But that comes from those videos as well. They really be thinking that those women look like that, like in real life.
Right.
And they be made up. They just have so much, or the artists may have so much money to make their makeup look so real that they think that that's what a natural look looks like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of confusion in that. I think the music industry plays a big part in that as well.
And you're right.
So,
there are a lot of fake things out there. But you said on that video also that they said the question they should ask the question of whether or not they can be with the person if they change physically or something like that, right?
It was that was one of the questions that they asked. The question was something similar to, you love the person for their physical appearance, but do you think that you can love them in the physical over the time if they physically change, or something to that extent? And what I took that as, again, was the physical look changes, because what I said to you was, at 2:30, again, like I said, you was the same person that I met. The thing with the physical aspect, at 2:30, you can drop the weight to get back to where you was at and then look back the same. But if your insides are fucked up or messed up, then you can change that, but the odds of you changing that is going to be, you can easily get back to what you look like. But if your insides and your morals and everything are messed up, for you to change that, it's probably going to be highly unlikely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's hard for people to change something that they've been doing their whole life and don't think that anything's wrong with it. That's the other part that goes wrong in relationships. And I think we hit on that a while ago as well. People not willing to try to come together to be one. You've been living actually, we talked about that with ISIS. You've been living single so long that you do things one way and you do things one way. So when you get together, you don't know how to combine that. Right. So that's also a part of a change that, people may not be ready to adapt and adjust to as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So after you get the looks and then you're together 2 or 3 years and then now you have to make these other changes, I feel as though that can make somebody unattractive to somebody as well too.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about change, like you said, the other aspect of change is the whole growing mental, like you said, mental change, right? And then there's this issue with, you may have one partner that grows mentally, they evolve, right? They evolve, they're changing, they're maturing, and the other partner doesn't do that. So I think one of the other things that people don't put as much emphasis or importance on as they should, especially before they get married, is trying to figure out, hey, if we plan to stay married, we need to realize that neither of us will potentially be the same person that we were 10 years ago, or what 10 years from now, we may be totally different people. And are we willing to learn each other continually? And are we willing to grow with each other continually? Or am I even capable of growing? Matter of fact, sometimes you can see that you have a partner that is ambitious, and we talked about this a little in with ISIS too, I think, or when we talk about expectations, but a partner who has certain expectations, certain goals, and you may know from the beginning that I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep up with that. That's just not who I am as a person. That's something that should be discussed before you marry, because you can get married to someone and that person decide, you all can both be at one place, and that person decide, okay, you know what, I want to go and get educated and go to college and blah blah blah, and then they come back to you with some totally different perspective because they've been, in academia world, and now they have all these new ways in which they're looking at life, ways in which they're looking at different things, ways in which they're doing things, and you may not want to get on board with that. Or you may not even be capable, or maybe it's like they're just totally different than who they were when you met them.
Then the question becomes, then who is right? I don't want to say who is right and who is wrong, but then what is the right or the appropriate way to handle that? Because if you guys was on the same page when you got married, and then you start or got together or whatever, then you start growing, and then your growth supersedes your partner's growth, then like how is that appropriately handled? So do you hold your partner accountable for not continually wanting to grow and or just stay where they were at? And vice versa. Do your partner get mad because you change your mindset on things? Or so how is that? What is the appropriate way to handle that? Like, how do you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's something that needs to be kind of discussed in premarital counseling and everything, and how that may look. I mean, you can't predict how it's going to look, but you have to be able to sit down and throw out various scenarios and say, okay, yeah, I think I can deal with that, or I'm not going to be able to deal with that. I mean, you just have to, because you have to know that no one is going. Well, most people, a lot of people, if you're growing as a person, if you're mature, no one stays the same. Like, people change. People do change every day. Now, hopefully that change is always for the better. But people change all the time. And then how do you deal with that change?
Well,
how do you move as one through change? Because you're supposed to become one. So if you become one, then you technically should be changing together. But how do you move as one throughout those changes?
Another question is that breakup material or breakup reasons?
Would it be? I mean, not according to the Bible, it's not, but I'm just saying.
Well, according to the Bible, no. No, that's very interesting. And I think that's again, that those are the type of things that should be discussed. These are the reasons that we had said earlier that premarital counseling is significant. And I think the whole thing of that is too, I don't think people just take relationships serious as they should. No, understand. It's one thing to be in a relationship. It's one thing to be in a committed relationship. But when that commitment turns into, okay, this is going to be my life partner, then something in you said, hey, I mess with this person. I could spend the rest of my life with this person. So then I think that you should indulge in that person's, I don't know, mindset more, or you guys should indulge in each other's mindset and be like, hey, whoa, it's sort of like buying a car, right? I like that car. That car pretty, this, that, and the third, right? You go test drive the car. Oh, man, that car cool, man. I really like it. And, do something, and then next thing you know, you're getting down to financing now. So, yeah, you really about to get the car, right? So then you make sure your bank account and your money is all in order so you'll be able to afford the car, yada, yada, the maintenance on the car, same thing. So what I'm saying with that is I think when you start getting that serious and talking about a marriage, people should take the appropriate steps to make sure that all of those things are addressed. So when I said people don't take, and I'm guilty of that too, people don't take relationships as serious as they should. It's just like it becomes something to do. I don't even think people take "Will you marry me?" and yes as serious as they should. Mm-hmm. I'm guilty of it. This time it was more serious to me than before, but I didn't even in that, I didn't know I still didn't understand what it was to be married. Mm-hmm. And I think premarital counseling, even if it would have been, I think counseling for me to understand a relationship would have been better. Mm-hmm. Because it would have made me understand premarital counseling and the importance of it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I laughed one time when I seen this white couple. They were it was a Cheesecake Factory, and I was up there by myself. And, the lady said something to her fiance and this, that, and the third. And next thing I know, I got involved in the conversation. Oh yeah, we got our counseling session next week. I'm like, counseling session? Like, yeah, it's premarital counseling, this, that, and the third. To make sure that. And I'm like, wow, I thought that was crazy because I never heard of that before, mm-hmm. right? And that was years and years ago. But again, they took their relationship serious. Mm-hmm. That's saying that, hey, we want this to work forever. It wasn't just a "Will you marry me?" Mm-hmm. Yes, it was a "Will you marry me?" Yes. Okay, let's get the financing together. Let's check out, make sure our finances are good, this, that, and the third, so we know we can afford this. So they wanted to know that their marriage was going to work because, like we said before, you could have found something, maybe she was a party animal and he was too, but he said by the time he get 30, he want to be out the club. And she's like, nah, I'm living like this the rest of my life. But versus them rushing into being married, they would have found that out through that.
Yeah, that's true. And then I think the one of the steps that you take into
knows that
preparing for stuff like that is understanding why, the real reason why you feel that you love someone. So understanding that more so than anything, I think helps you get through all that, those changes and everything else. Because even on some respects, if you say you just love a person because they're smart, or you love them because of blah blah, even those things are still on a not as superficial level as physical stuff, but it is still on a almost a superficial level. It's like, do you love them because in their heart they're a good person? Do you love them because of their character, like they're hardworking? Those are things that most of the time people don't grow out of, right? And they don't change necessarily. So those are the things that people, if you love someone, those are the things that should be attracting you to a person. And if you're attracted by that, then whether or not they grow as far as evolve, mature, and maturity wise and everything else, that shouldn't impact whether or not you all stay together. Not to say that it won't be some discussions that need to take place, but if you were used to, like the example you gave, going out to the club every weekend and your partner was going with you every weekend, and then now your partner is more wanting to kind of stay home, dig into starting a business, that sort of thing. That shouldn't be something that is like, okay, well, I still like to go out and you don't want to go out no more, so now we can't be together. And but some people there's people that base their whole relationships and marriages off of what exciting thing they can do together next. What happens when it becomes a time where you can't do something like that for whatever reason? Do you still love the person? Are you not going to be as interested in the person? Because now you're not jumping up and going. And if you're that involved with running, ripping and running, or going out to the clubs, about how much do you really know each other? Have you even taken the time to actually know each other in silence? Have you ever been still enough to actually? And I think that's an issue that some of these marriages have too, is that has the couple taken the time to be still enough to learn each other, and still enough to recognize what they appreciate and love about each other? Well,
I'll say this as far as the going. If you and someone, this goes back to what we were saying, loving people through changes, and this is not even physical, because like, let's say your older age, your plans, and this is not, I'm trying to reference somebody else, that you just wanted to travel and that's what you wanted to do, and then you met somebody, and then they said that they wanted to travel, right? And you're in a position to continuously travel. And then all of a sudden they don't want to travel anymore. Not because of, financial aspect, not because of, anything physical, anything like that. They just tired of traveling. But that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to see the world, right? Now, it goes back to your question again, and then it goes to mine as well. When that person don't want to travel anymore and y'all got together because both of you guys decided that's what you wanted to do.
That's what I'm saying, superficial. Why would you get together because of that? That's silly.
Well, but because of a common interest, I guess.
But that shouldn't be the only reason why you're together, though.
No, it shouldn't be the only reason.
You can have common interest with 50,000 people.
So, okay, that's true. But I'm saying it should be other things as well. But if that was like the main thing that you were looking for from somebody, and then everything else that y'all ideals of a relationship, marriage, and everything else was the same, who stops what? Of course, if you get married, like if you're the wife or your husband, you can't just go traveling by yourself. So then they really stop something that you wanted to do, that you enjoyed doing. So is that fair to them, or like?
I think that's the point where you come to a compromise.
But what is the compromise?
My whole that you don't just travel all the time like you have been doing.
Is that really a compromise though?
It really, because again, my point is, when you talk about marrying someone and being with someone long term, even when it comes to those common interests, the question should be asked: if all of that goes away, do you still love this person? what is it that you love with your soul? Are you saying that you only love that the person was able to travel? Because at some point, if the person's like, you know what, I'm tired of traveling. All we do is travel, travel, travel. I don't even know if people that are doing that, are you even giving yourself enough time to know each other?
How are you
Because
not
it's
if you're always together going places?
Yeah, but you're always distracted too.
How
because you're
always
traveling.
distracted?
And
If you go to Paris and you're sitting in Paris going out to eat at these expensive restaurants and doing all of these activities, then you leave Paris and you go to Africa and you're going to safaris,
again, you're talking about safaris and everything else. I'm saying, what happens when everything is still? Do you all even know each other at that point?
Well, I would hope that you're getting to know each other while you're out doing all of these things. That's not necessarily true,
because some people that travel, they don't how do you have time to conversate with each other?
How?
So you tell me that if you're on an African safari, y'all gonna be talking to each other like,
so you gonna be
your deepest desire?
So okay, so you gonna say you just gonna stay on a safari the whole time you there?
You missing the point, you're missing the point. Because again, I'm saying, when you're outside of your environment and your habitat, your home, and everything else, and you're not giving yourself a chance to be still, to actually sit in the presence of each other without anything else going on, without planning what you're going to do for the next day or what exotic excursion you got to go on, in the stillness of everything, when there's nothing to do you all even like each other? That's exactly why they said so many people broke up when COVID happened and they had to, what they call, shelter with each other, because they had never probably spent that much time with each other like that. And if they were spending time with each other, they were not spending time conversing with each other. They were not spending time getting to know each other. And then when they had all that empty time on their hands, they was probably thinking like, oh, I don't even know this person. I don't even like this person that much. Because that's what happens. That's what happens when you have to sit down and actually talk to somebody.
I can
like really talk to them and not talk about your trip and not talk about, oh, we saw the monkeys today and they were so cute. And when you have to be in the presence of someone and in the stillness of your partner.
Because I'm speaking from you and I, because I know we'll go places and then we go somewhere and do something and then go back to the hotel or whatever and won't do nothing but sit up and watch movies all night.
That's not the same thing. Even watching movies, that's not the same thing. You're talking about just spending time together. I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about actually when you're with each other, spending time to get to know each other. Not spending time on a trip with each other. Well, I'm not saying you're not getting to know aspects of each other then, but you are. But I'm saying actually sitting down in stillness out of the busyness of everything that's going on, everything that goes on the trip, everything that goes on in regular life, and actually get to know each other. Because my thing is like,
before you got the marriage that you did that.
A lot of people don't do it, and we just talked about that. There's been people that's been married 30 years that probably have not talked in depth about each other and themselves as me and you have.
Okay.
And so then when you're talking about change and you're talking about, well, if somebody decided they don't want to travel, I mean, what did you love about the person? Because that ain't it. Those things are like bonus things.
So then,
or collateral things, I guess, or things that just happen to be included. Like, but that shouldn't be why you love the person, like why you're in love with a person.
Well, no, it shouldn't be why you in love.
So if all that goes away, then where are you as far as a relationship? When all that goes away, where are you?
So it goes back again to for me, it goes back to, if you're an unattractive person, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to go try to strike up a conversation with that individual. But being an attractive person, once you strike up a conversation with that individual and you find out that you have some of the same likes and dislikes, I'm asking this, don't you think some of those likes and dislikes is what causes people to become closer, because you like and dislike the same thing, or your beliefs and wants are the same and your goals align with one another? Isn't that part of the process of falling in love?
But that's not, because again, love is not just an emotion. It's not just.
So you trying to say you could just be with somebody that y'all ain't got nothing in common?
I didn't. Who said that? Because I don't remember saying that at all. I'm saying that shouldn't. I'm saying whatever your common interests are. Yes, people should have. Most of the time, they have common interests. Yes, but at the same time, that shouldn't be what's holding you together. Because at any time, a person's interest can change. So you're trying to tell me if a person's interest has changed, and they're like, okay, or I don't believe in worshiping the light bulb anymore, like we were doing. Now all of a sudden you don't love them because they don't believe in worshiping the light bulb, and now you got to get divorced. Or I don't want to go on trips anymore because I'm older now. You know, it's tiring to me on my body, blah, blah, blah. So now all of a sudden you don't love them, and because y'all don't have that common interest there anymore,
it's not
that's the ruins of your relationship. Or do you say, okay, let's try to find something that because that's part of growing and evolving, finding different things that you both can challenge yourself with, becoming involved in new things, in new projects that you both, the characteristic, the thing that you should be looking for is not necessarily what we already have in common, but what are some things that we wouldn't mind exploring together? Because if you don't have that, you don't have anything. If you just all you got are the common interests that you had 20 years ago when y'all first met,
but those
then you don't have anything.
Well, I would think that if you like worshiping, as your terminology, worshiping a light bulb, right? You know, you have the conversation, the worshiping, like, oh yeah, well, I worship light bulbs too, but I started off with worship. Me too. I worshiped the switch before I got to the light bulb. Well, yeah, But so everything should align, and y'all, I would think that you for the most part, your interests will be the same, and then you would some type of way kind of change in the same type of direction. I would think if your mindset is the same, or if your goals are the same or align the same. So again, I'm not saying everything gonna change. Yeah, you may not like traveling no more, worshiping a light bulb, but you still may think the switch is one of the greatest things in the world. If you the switch turn the light on,
I got what you're saying,
but I'm saying like that's still a thing that you guys have in common. So you may not want to travel as much anymore, but you still love traveling.
But nobody.
So that's not like
no one said that, Jermaine. I'm saying, but your common interest is not the only thing that should be holding you together. That's all I said, because people are going to change. The question should be, are you open to learning new things?
Well, now
as we grow, are you open to learning new things? Do you have the capability to grow? Do you want to grow as a person? Should we plan on growing together? What steps are we taking to grow together? Because again, to sit there and think that someone is going to have the same mindset even that they did 10 years ago means that they haven't grown as a person. And you actually, your partner, as a partner, someone, if you love someone, you should be pushing someone to grow as a person. Well, you shouldn't want anyone stuck.
Well, I don't know why you married me, because I haven't grown since I was in the 9th grade. I've been this size for that long.
My mama said you grew this way.
Yeah, I did grow
Not this way.
Yeah, I grew up.
But I'm just saying, so like you should be pushing your partner to have that type of growth. And if you're not, I don't know if you someone that should be in a marriage. If you're not willing to accept and say there's going to be some changes, I don't know what all these changes are going to be, but I love this person because I love who they are as far as to the core of who they are as a person. I love what their heart. I love their determination. I love this and that, and stop focusing so much on these superficial things that we focus on.
No, one other thing I will do is
you'll be a lot better off.
I personally agree. Those, even with me saying that, I still say that and understand that those things are superficial. But some of the superficialness, again, it goes back to the conversation again, because like if your life had went in one direction, or you had planned your life to go into one direction, traveling, going to the moon, whatever it was, right? And then I would think that people would find people that want to have the same interests, right? So you're not going to date somebody because your life was going this way. You're not going to date somebody that say, I don't know, I want to start a real estate business, and they was like, "Oh no, I hate real estate." Like, I don't think that.
Well, yeah, of course not. But you act like people. If you find somebody who has a common interest, common interest won't change. Like, I can put it. I know a perfect example of this. You got people who are in clubs, right? Especially bike clubs and everything else. You can have two people that met and they were both in a bike club, and one person's like, you know what? Now I'm 60 years old. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not interested in this anymore. Now all of a sudden, their marriage is on the rocks because they don't want to be partaking that anymore, but their spouse does. Well, that's crazy.
You go to the motorcycle world, of course it is.
But I'm just saying but that's the same as with anything. Like, okay, so what else did you love about the person? That y'all was riding your bikes together, or that y'all was going? I mean, what else? There was nothing else there at all.
I get that, but it's just like that's part of the problem, because I guess because of how I'm thinking, and I really can't get out of that though, because again, if I know that I love motorcycles and I love the motorcycle club, right? And I've had past experiences where women didn't like the motorcycle world. They wouldn't want to ride a motorcycle. So I'm not going to try to date those women because of that interest. I need a woman that's going to like what I like. So then I date a woman that likes what I like. And then we're doing that and everything is fine. And all of a sudden she don't want to do that anymore. But I'm still into that. Then I it's superficial, but I chose someone that I thought that I was going to be able to be with because of that, because that's what
Okay, but then don't be hypocritical. The people who base it on physical stuff got just as right.
Well,
base that on physical as you do. I'm saying, go ahead.
I wasn't finished. But then, as you said though, it's like you should have fell in love. Or like I said, actually, you should have fell in love with something else about the person, right? But then the question becomes, again, I guess I would have to see the compromise on that, because I don't know if it's really a compromise if I have to give it up, and that's what I love to do. I have to give it up. But on the same token, that shouldn't mean more to you than your marriage. So it's like, to me, I was like, I have to see the compromise in that. That's kind of. Ooh, now I really see the dilemma.
I'm just saying, like, because I mean,
I really see
again, like you said, it shouldn't matter more than your marriage.
Well, your relationship, if the relationship,
but it should be the compromise of one of the compromises can be like, okay, well then, if I'm not going to do that, then that's fine. So, let's find something else that we can both do that would be satisfying to both of us.
But is that that's the problem though? I guess that's the issue that I'm not having a problem. Now we're going to somewhere else. Because how's that a compromise for me? Because you chose not, that you ain't want to do that. Now I got to go do something else because you chose you ain't want to do that.
Or the compromise could be like you don't participate as heavily.
But again, that's a one-sided thing to me.
No, it's not, because the fact that if a
person, is it not? You chose not to do it, so now I gotta choose to. Why you can't choose to continue to do it?
If your partner doesn't want to do it at all anymore, and then the compromise is, okay, well, we'll participate, but just not as heavily. That is a compromise on both ends. And then you seem to forget that even in a marriage, you're sometimes not going to have a compromise on both ends. That's part of being in a marriage too. It may be that somebody got to take the L.
Now that's true.
But the next time around, it's like, okay, but I gave in on this. So now on this part, can you give in on that?
That's a good point. But that don't.
So you can't just go for tit for tat for every compromise. Because how's that even a marriage? And if you're gonna base it as something as superficial as that, which is like a hobby or whatever some people want to call it, then you cannot possibly down anyone who says the same thing when it comes to physical appearance. Because the same thing. No, you can't force somebody. If they say, no, but the woman I met was skinny, weighed 110 pounds, had long flowing hair, and that's what I wanted. And that's what I went to her specifically because she looked like that. That's no different than what you just said. I went to somebody specifically because they had this.
It is a little bit different. And here's the difference. Because if they get
can't hear us? I don't know if everybody can't. Hold on, I can double check. Hold on 1 minute.
If the thing is, because you could get back to looking like that, but if you tired of doing something, you ain't gonna get untired of not doing it. Because you could get back to looking like that, but if you tired of doing,
no, I think it's your it might be your speakers, Kurt.
You know what I'm saying? So if I chose a woman that had the long hair, big breasts, big butt, legs, feet, whatever it is, right? And she no longer looks like that because she's gained weight or whatever the case may be. She can get back to looking like
Maybe
that.
she can't. How do you know that? She may have a medical condition where she can't get back to looking like that.
It's still different.
It's not different.
Because if you stop wanting to go to, if the hobby
it's no
is
different.
Yes, it is. Because you're not going to get untired of not being in the motorcycle thing and then say, oh, let me get back in it.
What? You can still no, but you still can get back in. It's not like you've been kicked out or anything. You can still get back in it voluntarily. You voluntarily got out. You can voluntarily get back in. It's the same thing. If you pick somebody based off of some specific thing and that's why you with them, then if according to your logic, everybody has the right to feel some kind of way if the person is not like that, and whether it's physical, whether it's mindset, whether it's any of that. What I'm saying is that what people need to discuss is, hey, can I deal with changes? I may not know what all these changes are going to be, but why do I love this person?
I agree with that.
Why do I truly love this person? Because if I love them in the truest sense of the word, love, if I love them because there have been so many actions that have bonded us together emotionally,
those things should make you want to be able to compromise. I get it.
We can get through that. We can deal with it. We can compromise because at the end of the day, you both should be trying to make each other happy.
So that part I 100% agree with. Ooh, that's a good topic. We may talk about that next week. Compromising. Yeah. But
yeah, communication before the change if you can. That's the thing. You communicate and say, hey, this is where I'm at now. But then you should all be, if you're growing with your partner anyway, you should be in the know of where things are headed or where things, you can tell if your partner is getting tired of something. You can tell if your partner is not as excited about something as they used to be. Those are signs. And yes, you communicate and you discuss it.
Yeah.
And then you decide to grow together. You decide, okay, well, let's try to figure something else out. But these people that get stuck on this stuff, I mean, I just took it as something that talked about the divorce rate, and the divorce rate.
Well, that goes back because, like I said, though, ain't nobody taking marriages and relationships serious. Like that's just a fact.
Just 2 years ago, the divorce rate was 40 to 50% of first marriages ended in divorce, and 60 to 67% of second marriages ended in divorce. So it's like people were getting married, divorcing, and then they were getting remarried, and still apparently hadn't learned anything from the first marriage and getting divorced at even a higher rate.
I wonder what the percentage is on the third marriage.
And that's true. Just do it from time to time to make them happy. And that's what I'm saying. That's compromise, Mark. It's like you compromising. It's like, okay, well, I've literally heard guys say that they would not stop engaging, especially when it comes to the bike world, that they would not stop for their wives, for any relationship. They just didn't care. They put that above every. Then the first thing, I mean, of course, you know, we're Christian people, but the first thing you should be putting before at the head of your marriage is God anyway. Right. So you should be seeking God in regards to all of this stuff and going to God with regards to all this stuff. But for someone to just say like, oh yeah, I don't care, I'm not gonna ever, like, why would you put anything above your spouse? And if that's how you really
you
feel,
shouldn't even got to
you shouldn't be married. You shouldn't even be in a relationship.
But I'll say this though. I don't know if I don't know. No, I'm not gonna say that. But some people may, as far as the bike world, some people may say, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you now. I'm in this bike world. I ain't gonna change this, that, and third. I'm gonna be doing this the rest of my life." And you're like, "Okay, me too." Da, 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 da. But that stays on the superficial level as well,
It
because once you
does.
say that, anyway, if you say this means that much to me, and I'm not gonna do it, there's two things with that. One, the person that you said that to, that's their red flag, right?
Mhm.
Two, those situations, if both of y'all think that that's what y'all gonna do the rest of y'all life, and then one person decide they don't want to do it anymore, those are that's set up for failure anyway from the beginning. Because like
Yeah.
you said, somebody's gonna change.
Right. There's
May
no
may
people do
change. I
not
ain't gonna say
stay
that.
the same. Like they
So,
just absolutely do not stay the same. I can't remember the exact example, but I remember there was one scenario where I I'm paraphrasing, but I'll give you an example, kind of like just a hypothetical. But it was something like the guy met the girl, she was stripping. Say she was a stripper or whatever. And he married her. She was a stripper. He's okay with the fact that she was a stripper, whatever. But then it was like after they start having kids, then it was like, okay, now I don't think it's so good great for you to be a stripper because I don't want our kids to be exposed to that and to know what you do, blah, blah, blah. So it's like his positioning changed, right? So is it fair? Like, yeah, you expect somebody. That's one of the main things that change people. When people become parents, they even start changing their mentality, how they think about certain things, and how involved they want to be. As a matter of fact, we in one of our counseling sessions, Jermaine was talking about how he wanted to get back to us traveling and stuff, and I said, like, you know what? I spent like almost a year away from my kids when my mom was sick, and just overhearing some of the conversations that my kids were having, like even the older ones from before. That's like this is even before my mom got sick, but like when I was in the bike clubs and when I was in a different relationship, and I was just always running, and they were just like I think my son Malachi said, like, I don't remember having a conversation with mommy or something like that, like something to that thing. And I'm thinking now, like, you know what? I don't want to be gone. Like I still got my youngest is 11, right? So he's still little, and it's like, and our bonus child actually she's 5, so she's still little. It's like I don't want to be gone all the time. I don't want to my kids always be looking up and every weekend I'm gone or every other week I'm gone traveling. Like I don't. Like my role as a parent is to spend as much time as I can with them while they're young. Spend as much time as I can with them even while they're adults, as the adults that still want to hang with their parents, because some parents have kids and they wish that their kids still came and visit with them. They wish that their kids still talked to them. They wish that their kids still, came and sat on their bed and just had conversations out the clear blue with them. And they don't have that. So then it's like, why would I give all that up? Because that's stuff something I can't get back at all, ever. At the end of the day, I can't get back. Those are memories. Those are things that's impactful for them. Even when I'm no longer here, they'll look back and remember, okay, mommy spent this time with us. She did this with us. I remember when we did this. So yeah, I still want to travel, but not on the level that I was initially thinking that I wanted to travel, right? So not on that level. And then if I do travel, I want a lot of those times to be with the kids, for us to travel as family, for us to go out of the country as a family and different things, not just us by ourselves. Because that's just something that's a change in mindset for me.
and to answer your question, is the guy wrong? I feel
And I don't think he is wrong, because I'm thinking like his mindset changed. Like once they had kids, his mindset was like, okay, wait, we have kids. Maybe I need to start thinking about this differently. To me, that's maturity, right? That's growth. Now she may not think that, but in some kind of way they need to think about come up with some type of compromise. Maybe
so that's the problem, and so I agree with what you just said, right? That type of stuff, I still I still be like kind of on the fence. I don't think that he's wrong, because you don't, especially after having kids, right? It's one thing if you're okay with everybody looking at your woman in that certain manner, but you wouldn't want your kids. I would think that nobody would want their kids to have their mother out there being looked at in a certain manner, and I wouldn't want my kid's mother to be like that, especially if it's my woman. But then again, you met her like that.
That don't mean anything.
No, it doesn't mean anything like that. You accepted it because my whole thing is, and I'm not disrespecting anybody that dance or strip, whatever you want to call it. I ain't disrespecting anybody that want to deal with that. But what I will say is you have to have a certain type of moral compass to either want to deal with the woman that dance or either want to dance. And I get it. Sometimes people use it to pay their way through school or whatever, get hard times hard. I get all of that, right? So it's just, what else can she do to make money if that's all she knows? But on the same token, you have kids now. That one is a little bit hard for me.
But that's the thing. But then wouldn't part of that be like, okay, let's have a discussion. Are you doing this specifically because you need money, right? And if for income, because if you are, then let's try to figure out a way in which find out what your other interests maybe are. Are you on a pole because you just like pole dancing? If that's the case, then hey, you can compete professionally on the pole and not be a stripper. I mean, so there's ways around it, right? And there's compromise. But to sit here and you hear so many people say, "Well, I was like this when you met me." It's like, okay, so yeah, but that means you don't grow at all. Like you're gonna be stuck where you were when I met you. That's not a good thing. And again, those are conversations that need to be had. For someone to have that type of mentality, and maybe that's something that people can ask them in the marriage counseling, or even somebody was saying people should have counseling when they're dating. But if that was one of the questions, they can ask them like, hey, are you one of them type of people that feel like if somebody met you at a certain point, or in a certain way mindset, that you have a right to stay like that, or they don't have a right to ask you to change, then maybe that's something that needs to be discussed. And if the person is the other mindset, like, yeah, if they met me here, then they have no right asking me to change, then that's not a person that's going to be open to change.
I need you to write something down when we get off of this. I just thought of something.
Because you definitely have to be open to change.
We keep talking about that, right? I talk to you when we get on. That's cool. I just thought of something. But yeah, that's it's interesting. I'll say this. This is personal. This is a lot of crap that I had to change about me, and I had to adjust. It made me a better person. Let me tell you this right now. When you told me I was selfish yesterday, kind of hurt my feelings because I used to be a very, very, very. You did. I'll show you a text message.
Okay.
I used to be a very selfish person, and I'm talking about it so bad that it's my way or the highway. I put myself before I even put my kids. Like if I want to do something, and I know, if I got $100 and this is how selfish I was. That's why I said I should have really technically never had kids. If I got $100 and my kids want something, but I know they don't need it, and I want something and I don't need it, I'm going to get it for me. Very selfish individual. Same thing. It couldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if I was with a woman or whatever. I was a very selfish individual. And that was one of the hardest things that I had to let go. Even in my previous marriage, I said this, not that I was controlling, but I said this and I'll listen to the opinion and what she thought. And at the end of the day, like, nope, I'm going to do it this way. Right. So it wasn't no compromising. So growing through changes, I had to learn. Like I said, this whole thing is a learning experience for me. And that's why that video caught my attention, right? Because I'm past the physical aspect again. Like I don't give a damn what happens. She's always going to be the most beautiful woman in the world to me. But it's the changes in general that, like now, I'm gonna be honest with you, that threw me off when she said that yesterday, about not traveling as much. But I can accept that because I've pretty much I've never really wanted to. We're still going out of the country, so I never really wanted to go out of the country. That's on the bucket list. But I've traveled. We've traveled. That's something that I wanted to do. So I ain't like that. I have to get up and go every month and every year. I mean, like, but it's still available to go. So I mean, that's not that big of a compromise. I think at the beginning that would have been hard. If we would have, if you would have said that early on, yeah, I don't know if we could have got married, buddy. Because the mom,
he's basically marriage
yeah,
on the wrong thing.
I was because at that point in my life, it was like my kids are gonna be grown. My kids are gonna be grown. When I get 40 years old, I'm gonna be able to go do the things that I wasn't able to do. Well, meeting you, I was able to do those things. So I did it. Not only I got to do it, but I got to do it with somebody that I fell in love with or was falling in love with. So it made it more special. But if that would have came along at a different or later time, and you'd be, oh yeah, let's say you and whoever would have went traveling, and you was, I don't want to travel that much. Yeah, buddy, we may not. I don't know. That was no. So, no. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Well, I'm not gonna say nothing wrong with it. I'll say this.
Yeah,
for
you would have to adjust your ways if you were, in a relationship or married, then yeah, because you have to change things.
So
you just can't.
But
you're not.
Hold on.
Yourself. The two become one.
And here's the thing too. This is what I'll add to that. You have to find somebody that's You have to find somebody that's, and she probably ain't gonna agree with this. You have to find somebody that you care about or like enough to be willing to give that change up. I mean, give that selfishness up. Because if you find somebody that you just dating and just going out there with, and y'all doing whatever, but they don't strike you in a way of, oh wow, I could be with this person forever. Once you realize that you truthfully love somebody, those changes and giving up that selfishness is a little bit easier to do. And I get, you love your kids. I love my kids too. I wasn't ready mentally to be a father or a parent, and I love my kids. It's just I wanted to quote unquote do me. Meeting her, like it was like, okay, she's great. Like I can't mess this up. So yeah, I may be willing to give up on this and give up on that so I can make this work, right? Because as I've always said, my last one, I did everything wrong. So I have to, my goal is to do everything right here. So I have to listen more, which I never did before. I have to compromise more, which I very rarely did. And I have to be open to trying to change, which I think I have. I still got a long way to go. But yeah, so
3 hours away, that's not too far.
Well, if you got 3 hours away, then and you think you really listen, that's what we're gonna get into next week. We're gonna come up with some questions. That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna write some questions down that people should have a conversation. Like, because we keep talking about premarital counseling and stuff like that. Well, what are some good questions to ask in those counseling sessions, or even if you don't go to counseling, to ask one another?
Yeah.
I think that'll be beneficial, because if somebody takes that serious and like you said, you got somebody that's 3 hours away, we may say something that, and again, we're no love counselors. We try to do what works for us, and hopefully something will work for somebody else. But we'll come up with a list, and you may find a couple things on that list that you ask, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I thought I'd give it up for your ass. or you may be like, yeah, I will. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's what I needed to hear, whatever. And she asks you questions or whatever. So I think that's a good thing.
It is.
We should do that.
It is.
But
and then the other.
So here's the compromise again. Neither one of y'all wants to move, right? So would you say about taking L's earlier? Mm-hmm. Somebody got to take an L. Like who? So and what you can't do is this now. If you move, you can't be like, when you get into an argument, the worst thing you can do, well, I moved all the way up here for you. I moved over here for you, and I ain't like that. Can't even be a topic of a conversation. Or vice versa. If she was to move, whatever. But somebody got to give. Somebody got to give. And if it's 3 hours away, maybe the compromise is what? Let's see if you're gonna say what I
An
say.
hour and a half.
Yeah, here you go. Y'all find a happy medium, and then now you'll only be an hour and a half away from where you live. She only be an hour and a half away, and now y'all together.
There you go.
Because an hour and a half, that 3 hours is 200 miles. 90 miles, you split that in half, that's 100 miles a piece. That's an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
If y'all really think that y'all the one.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I'm telling you this, I almost said the N-word. Let me tell you the compromise that I don't want to do. I ain't gonna say I don't want to do, but I got tired of moving out of the Charlotte area, right? I done lived in Iowa. I done lived in where else I lived? Alabama. Did I say somewhere else?
Rockhead.
Well, Rockhead is Charlotte, but anyway, I moved a couple places, and I'm back in Charlotte, and I said I'm never leaving again. Promise you, I said I'm never leaving again, right? And while she got me thinking about going to, what you say, New Mexico, Arizona, we don't know nobody out there. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, because all my kids are here, but it's like they're grown, they're living their lives. So my wife said, I just said wait till my youngest daughter starts school, and we'll maybe try. I'm kind of like on the fence, but she gonna have to pack up whatever. So,
Yep.
Oh shit,
I'll tell you.
I ain't gonna say nothing. Go ahead and ask.
What? I been asked. I used to be in Altered Egos in the social club part of it, not
But-
the MC. But yeah,
So
social
much for
club.
your hard stop.
Yeah, I know. But so I want to, in closing, I want to say this. Like, at the end of the day, everyone have to set up. Oh, you're in Raleigh. Okay, well, you're not bad. I used to commute to Raleigh actually every day. Actually, I was still in Alter Egos when I was commuting back and forth to Raleigh for work, I believe. So, but at the end of the day, everyone has to design their relationship and marriage in a way that it best fits them. But it is definitely important to have these type of conversations. It's definitely important to think about things that may happen in the future, changes that may come about. It's definitely important to think about why you love a person, why you feel an emotional bond with a person. It is very important to think about what ifs. I think someone had asked him before, like a what if question, like if she didn't have blah blah, blah would you still be with her? But it's important to have those type of conversations, and they're not always pleasant conversations, but it's important. There was just a lady who I think they're famous. I can't remember their name, but who said that her and her husband just got divorced because he wanted kids and she didn't want kids. Now I don't know. Did y'all not talk about this? Because I guess he was young. Well, he's younger than her, I guess. But it's like, did you all have this conversation beforehand? I mean, what happened that made it change to the point that you all are getting divorced now, right? I think she was saying that she's older now. She can't have kids. So a lot of people were saying, well, that they didn't talk about it beforehand. My thing was, well, I don't know. Did they talk about it beforehand? And because it took so long maybe for them to have kids, now she feel like because she's older, she doesn't have to go through the whole pregnancy. I don't know. But those are the conversations to have. That people should have beforehand. So you have to have your relationship and your marriage set up how you see it, how God has ordained it to be. And you have to have those hard discussions beforehand, just so that it helps you when you come to difficult changes. It helps you to maneuver them so that they don't become these type of changes that lead to divorce and everything else. The last thing I was going to mention, Jermaine said you put into something what you get out of something what you put into it, right? So that includes our podcast, Jermaine. So Jermaine likes to talk, right? But he doesn't like to do a whole lot of promoting this stuff. I guess he expects me to do that by myself. And that's something that, you have to compromise with me on and be willing to take the reins sometime and put as much energy into it as we both need to put more energy into it, because this is something that's on our vision board and it's something that we both said we wanted to grow, even though we're not necessarily doing it for numbers, but more so doing it because it's therapeutic. But again, even if you're doing something for the betterment of your marriage and your relationship, you should be putting your all into doing that activity.
You said something? Oh, my
You
fault.
should be putting your all into doing the activity. So I just want y'all to hold us accountable, hold Jermaine accountable,
Hold me accountable. Hold her accountable.
That's what we need to do. So as we work on consistency this year, and making sure we're promoting and when I say promoting, I'm saying like telling people ahead of time what the topics will be, just in case someone wants to contribute or be a guest on our pod, our live feed. That's the type of stuff we need to be doing. But other than that, I said I had a hard stop because Nana, my dog that I got for Christmas that the kids got me, she goes off to her training tomorrow, her boarding and training. So we have to get her ready for that. And then
that ain't no compromise. I ain't
our
doing
fasting. And so the later we eat, the longer we have to wait before we can eat tomorrow. So like it's already 10 o'clock. We haven't had dinner. Now we're gonna have to wait until like, I don't know, some ridiculous hour to eat tomorrow, like
I'm
3 or something like that.
I'll start over.
Anyway. But anyway, dedicated. Everyone have a great night. You done? You gotta because Jermaine thinks that all he's supposed to do is come to the show and talk.
Yep, pretty much.
But it's like, no, it's more than that, sweetie.
Pretty much, nope.
You have to come be more involved in that.
Nope, don't do that. I'm here.
Definitely.
You see, look, I ain't have all these gray hairs 3 years ago. I got married, and y'all see this crap, that gray hair. I just know this right here. All this is gray. It's because of you. You're stressing me.
This is great. This is great.
I look like my father.
You look like a distinguished
gentleman. I look old as in my birthday this month.
His birthday's coming up, so yeah. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. Have a blessed night. Have a wonderful tomorrow, and even more blessed tomorrow, and a blessed rest of your week.
Kiss. I love you.
Good night. Love you too. You be good as well.
Yep.